Hello, long time no see. I went over a lot of the why for what my interpretation is of Vegas's moves last video. Almost 37 minutes long, sorry. I really feel like I would enjoy doing a podcast. Anyway, the purpose of today's video is to just go over and finalize the moves that Vegas has made in their offseason. It's just July 1st, and the way that the offseason is going to work, I think moving on, at least this season, is there's going to be some time in between the different moves that are made. Nikolai Ehlers, basically the top free agent still left on the board, is still not announced where he's going yet. So, you know, it's different, and I think allowing a period where you can talk to UFAs before and have a big, huge day of announcements and stuff would probably be more efficient and effective and fan engaged, but what do I know? So to recap, I watched part of the press conference that Kelly McCrimmon had. I didn't get to Marner yet, but he announced basically what I was thinking, which is Vegas made most of their moves last season, during the season, and in the last month or so, which is, again, tidy work because they're in complete control of their own destiny instead of leaving it to the players. Although Vegas is a free agent destination, let me tell you, because of the winning culture, it doesn't matter. People want to come here. Mitch Marner, prime example. Riley Smith, his best hockey. And Rasmus Anderson, a defenseman, right shot from the Flames that would replace Petro. He wants to extend, and from what I've seen in reports, only with Vegas. We don't even have this player. We might not be able to afford this player, but it makes Vegas even that much more hated just because of this. And the tax advantage is an advantage. Being a winning team with a front office that you know is going to wants to win. And if you're going to help them do that, and all these players think that they're able to contribute to that, then you know that's going to fit right in, and you know they're going to make the moves that they think are right to help you get there, right? And that's just it's a winning culture that Bill Zito and Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee have built in their organizations that, yes, have the tax advantage, but it's much more that than the tax advantage. Anyway, soapbox. Let's go over the moves that Vegas made. So a lot of their re-signings that happened last season, you know, Braden McNabb, Brett Howden, Aiden Hill, those solidified the moves that many teams have saved for the offseason, especially Vegas in their past, that they just got on it this past year. Theodore extension, it was great. And so a lot of those moves were the moves for free agency. And now Theodore and Hannafin, who are, they can swap nights being the number one defenseman. What a luxury, having them and Petro, which, all the best to Petro still. But, you know, that's good. So we don't have to rely on just one of them every single game. You know, it's great. We can have one or the other step up. And they're both at 7.4 or less million in their cap hit. That's very reasonable. And just yay. But Petro leaves a hole. And so Vegas needs to fill that hole, and they have acquired some options today. The signings of Riley Smith and Brandon Saad and Mitch Marner were all announced today. They were kind of confirmed previously before this. The Mitch Marner one was submitted before this, which it just took the NHL time to process the trade and the signing. So that's why it was announced today and why it's still allowed to be 8 years. But again, Mitch Marner was not looking for a 4-year deal. We got him for 8, which drove the way that NHL players look at it is the number, the overall number, which is not how most fans look at it, that look at the cap and stuff, because it's a hard salary cap. And so it was the $96 million that he was going to get. Whether it was 8 or 7 years made a huge difference for Vegas. It made $1.7 million in difference in average annual value over the next 8 years. And that was the cost of Nick Waugh, who, as Kelly McCrimmon said, is a third-line center on most teams. And because of the center depth that Vegas had, it was a luxury, and we were able to expend that to increase and bolster our winger and scoring swingers, and so that's exactly what they did for Mitch Marner, and it's great. So Riley Smith, Brendan Saad, 1-year deal, $2 million, no trade clause to both of them, identical contracts. That's fantastic. The Vegas Golden Knights signed 3 other players, and starting with, like I was alluding to earlier, defensive restructure, like backup, basically, reserves. Right shot defenseman, Dylan Cogland. VGK legend is still the only defenseman in Vegas Golden Knight history through the 8 years to score a hat trick. And it was his career goal 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic stuff. When we traded him to Carolina as a sweetener for them to take on Pacioretty's contract, which wild times, because now you're able to just throw contracts like that to other teams and you get a later round draft pick in return. It's crazy. You don't have to add sweeteners. It's a new NHL. I was expecting him to have bigger opportunities with Carolina, and then when he subsequently got traded next year to Winnipeg, he was going to have an opportunity to show and step up like he was kind of getting when Vegas was injury riddled, but we were able to solve that, and he was just kind of odd man out. But he never got that. He played 52 career games with Vegas. Let me get the exact statistic. 27 years old, from Duncan, British Columbia. Ah, Duncan boy. I forgot about that. 6'2", 207 pounds, right shot. Again, it's a 1-year deal for league minimum, $775,000. And we might lose him to waivers. But with Vegas, he played in 88 games. Really? Had 19 points, 6 goals, 13 assists, and then when we traded him, he played with Carolina for parts of 2 seasons and then Winnipeg, but mostly in the AHL, except not as a healthy. I don't understand why they weren't utilizing him better, because he had the makings of being an up-and-coming right shot defenseman. And so, hey, cool, we're getting him back. But since the 88 games, I guess, he played in 18 with Carolina and then 6 with Winnipeg. So a total of 24. And that's not at all what I thought was going to happen in his career. So, hey, I hope he's able to stay on our team after this and that we don't lose him to waivers come training camp, preseason, etc. Because right shot defensemen and Whitecloud, Korczak are right shot defensemen. Theodore will play right, probably. But I just think it would be nice to have him as a safety. I guess we're healthy scratching him. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he's able to compete. He's only 27 years old for a roster spot and make that room uncomfortable, you know? That's great. Maybe we can have Theodore on the left and have a right side of Whitecloud, Korczak, and Dylan Cogland, who, name-wise, that's not going to strike fear into the heart of your opponent, but hey, Vegas is Vegas, so you never know. Another former Vegas Golden Knight signer, he never played a game with us, he might this year, is another defenseman, Jacob Megna. 32 years old, left shot, cap hit of $800,000 for 2 years. So, you know, that's cool. That season he played with the Chicago Wolves. But it's just, again, giving us more options with defensemen. And who knows, especially because the RFAs that we tended qualifying offers to, meaning like no one, like we still can hold their rights while we're waiting to figure out contract details and maybe go to arbitration and have someone mediate a contract being made between the two parties or another team offer sheeting them, which for the ones that we have, I don't see anyone offer sheeting anything that would net us anything. So it is what it is. He did get into 8 games with the Florida Panthers last year. Huh, cool. Played half the season with the Blackhawks the year before. He's bounced around. He was a 7th round draft pick with the Anaheim Ducks back in 2012, so it's just bolstering that depth, you know, kind of. But then, I don't even know who this guy is. He's a Ottawa Senators draft pick originally, but we signed Cole Reinhardt to a 2-year near league minimum contract. And left winger, 25 years old, low risk, like 6th round pick from 2020. Played in 17 games last year, only had 2 points with Ottawa. He's been in their system his entire career. Total of 18 games played, and that one game that was not last season was from 3 years ago. Just, you know, depth. And Vegas went through a lot of different players rotating in, you know, this past season. So it's just good to have other names, people that have had NHL experience to be able to compete and for like roster spots and filling in. Even though the roster looks pretty set, you know? So a lot of these signings are just in case of injury, you know? And we'll see what happens, but that's Vegas's day. Very low key. The other names, what on earth are the Kings doing? Corey Perry, I get. Kind of, like, hopefully for them, in their opinion, like, the curse lives on and they're able to make it to the Stanley Cup final to lose. But, you know, you got past the first round. You supposedly got past Edmonton. Like, that's just, you know, a win for the Kings this season, right? Even though, but, like, Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin, I don't know. Seeing Mitch Marner in the videos that I've seen of him putting on the Golden Knights jersey in front of all those people, which how can I work in that office? And then he grabbed his son, whose name is Miles, and I saw this joke about how it's tampering because if he knew he was going to come to Vegas in the American system, which is why his son's name is Miles and not kilometers. Real funny. He grabbed his son, and I'm like, ooh, my daughter hated when I held her in this gold jersey because the sparkly, which it does not come across well on camera. In person, this thing is beautiful, but it does not. It's not comfortable, especially for babies with sensitive skin. So, you know, all power to him for grabbing his son while wearing the gold jersey. But number 93, his junior number when he was a London Knight, and it's the first Vegas Golden Knight to ever wear that number. It's great. And so that was Vegas' July 1st. Very, very muted Canada Day, as opposed to what we have grown accustomed to. But it's because all the stuff happened yesterday. When Vegas was in control of their own destiny. Signings that we've already talked about, and then today adding Dylan Cogland, Jacob Megna, and Cole Reinhardt to that list is just good. Bolstering up and adding players. Good stuff. But nothing really of sustenance other than the Rasmus Anderson rumor, and then also apparently we're in on Bowen Byram, but I don't know how cap-wise or like, I don't know. Kelly McCrimmon and Jacob, the creator of General Manager that is in the team and a Stanley Cup champion. You know, they are magicians with the cap, just like Mitch is a magician with the puck. And so leave it to them to figure it all out and figure out how they're going to wheel and deal. But, you know, that's it. That's Vegas's free agency so far, and when we have an update, I'll be here. If I could make a suggestion, go and watch videos of Mitch talking to the press back in his last year in Toronto, and then look at him with the press today. The smiles and all of that jazz, he looks like a weight has been lifted off. And I saw some people mention, oh, he still has a little bit of PTSD, which, you know, is what it is. And I'm not saying it's media's fault. I'm not saying it's Toronto's fault. I'm just saying like what Steve's been saying for years, the mix doesn't work. And it was a toxic relationship on both ends that needed a breakup. And so all the best to Toronto with Nick Waugh. I'm looking forward to seeing what Nick Waugh's going to be able to do with a bigger responsibility center-wise. But I'm so pumped to be able to see what Mitch Marner is capable of doing for every game for the Vegas Golden Knights, and then seeing how being in this locker room changes the way that he plays in the playoffs. But that's a long ways away, and let's just enjoy the moment right now. That's going to be it for today's Nightly Review. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.